You ready to get into it? Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Presented by Under Armour and Sleeper Fantasy. Welcome to Light Years. Andy Lou, solid Warriors win against a shorthanded Philadelphia 76ers team. 119-107. I feel like we just needed a palate cleanser like that. Like honestly, I'm still kind of mad about the officiating down the stretch of the Lakers game.
Oh, really? Wow.
And then just losing 2 games by 1 point down the stretch, like getting a nice, comfortable win where they kind of controlled the game and it was positive. Very necessary palate cleanser right now.
Yeah, that was probably the most needed win this season outside of whatever they need to win moving down the stretch to get into the playoffs. But yeah, that was the much needed win. I feel like the vibes have been trending up. I think you and I have sat here for the last few pods or the last pod I was out for a while, but the last pod I think generally felt a little better about the players in the season. And that this game was a good step forward. I'm not going to freaking sit here and act like
back.
like
We're back, baby.
Yeah, I'm not here to act like everything is fixed, but it was one of their best games that they played, and there's a lot of, I think, good things about it that we're going to talk about. A lot of good sustainable, we're cooking. We are back.
And let's be honest, it was fun to see the Niners there. You see Trent Williams. It's just, that's what I needed. I think it's just fun watching. Like, this dude's going to go into the Hall of Fame on first ballot, most likely. He might be the greatest offensive tackle of all time, which is to say one of the best to do it at what he does. And he looks like a little kid watching Steph. This was right after Steph hit one of his 8 to 15 ridiculous shots of the night, but one of the ones like trailing, fading, the type of thing where it's just like, come on, man, how are you going to hit that? And that's always fun to watch. That's the type of thing that like brings me back to the Warriors when a season kind of sucks a little bit.
I'm more impressed by what Javon Kinlaw is wearing. I'm not sure that's a Javon Kinlaw outfit he should be wearing. I feel like Trent Williams can pull that one off because he's Trent Williams, but respect. Steph makes the
that is an all-pro outfit. That is not a solid rotation player outfit.
Exactly, which is cool that Javon Kinlaw is a solid rotation player because he was quite bad and injured the last few years, but the first few years. But yeah, to your point, Steph makes the largest, most athletic, greatest human beings in the world kind of look like kids watching him play, because there is nothing like watching Steph go. I mean, we even against LA, right? It's just something breathtaking about watching a dude like that just run around and shoot from 30. By the way, is Steph slump over? I think it's over. I think we're done.
I think it's officially over. I think, it's like all Steph slumps. It feels like it's forever, but it's really like 6 games. When you're in the middle of it, you're like, oh, it sucks. God. I can't watch this anymore. Well, I can't do it. And then, he gets out of it because he's Steph Curry. 12 for 17 tonight, casual 37 points. Again, Philly didn't have Tyrese Maxey, and Embiid looked really limited and limped off at the end. But end of the day, the Warriors need wins. And let's actually get into it, because I feel like there was some fun stuff in this game that, with the trade deadline coming up, is interesting. No Klay Thompson. And I feel like my main thought on this game was how fluid they played, and how downhill they played. Now, we can argue part of it's Philly missing their best, or missing one of their 2 best guys, and their other one looking pretty limited. But the Warriors looked fast. They looked like they could move the ball, and they got to the rim way more than normal. Wiggins in the first half was pretty good going downhill, and Kuminga down the stretch. That's the type of play, which is why they're like, we're not trading him. We're not trading him unless you're giving us a top 10 player or something like that. Podziemski, just the perfect glue connector. Draymond, as good as he's looked basketball, just connecting everything, playing defense in a long time. And I don't know. They look really good.
So the Klay stuff is interesting. I have a lot of thoughts on this tonight. A lot. Because I think the reason why Wiggins and Kuminga look better in my mind, one is Draymond. It allows them to play defense and then gets them the ball. He's the only guy that can take advantage of a Steph double and get those guys the ball going downhill. So that's number one reason. Number two, they're not running any plays for Klay. And this is not I'm not blaming Klay, but when Klay's on the floor, the Warriors are running plays for him to come off screens and shoot threes. And Wiggins and Kuminga are just getting the scraps off of that. But when you substitute Podziemski in for him, thank you for enlarging that box score. When you substitute Podziemski for him, Podziemski's a guy they're not running any plays for him. He's another one of those quote unquote connector guys, kind of similar to Draymond, where he's a somewhat of a threat. But what his job on the floor really is to do is to get Steph the ball, get Kuminga the ball in the paint, get Wiggins the ball so he can make a move. And so now that you have Draymond, a guy that's passing and making the right plays, and Podziemski, I think it makes it a lot easier for the two wings who, I mean, let's be honest, Sam, neither of them can dribble, but man, when they go downhill, they're pretty unstoppable. So I think that's why they look so much better. I don't. And so this is where I would argue, and you brought this up way, way before. This is the type of game you would argue Klay would be better off coming off the bench. Like if Kuminga's going to be this good and Wiggins is going to be, and maybe Wiggins is back and Wiggins was great defensively tonight. If that's the case, I'm not saying Klay needs to be gone. I'm not saying he's detrimental to this team. They need him. But this is the type of showing that you're saying, yeah, maybe he should come off the bench, right? Maybe he should play Corey Joseph and Quinones minutes so that they can just run sets for him because the bench isn't going to have much scoring. So that's, again, like this is a win at home against a team that's not fully healthy. But that's how I feel. If you're going to move forward with these two wings, because they're still 27 and 21, then I think that's where you would say, I don't know how you're going to work Klay in, because I guarantee you when Klay plays on Friday, Kuminga not getting 19 shots. I guarantee you that's not happening.
One of them's going to be the odd man out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because to your point, none of those three players, Kuminga, Wiggins, or Klay, are dudes looking to get other people's shots. On the most basic level, they're all scorers by mentality. They do it different ways. Klay's a killer, as a shooter. Kuminga wants to dunk it on everyone. I love that about him. And Wiggins is somewhere in the middle of those two. Like, I don't think he's nearly as aggressive as Kuminga, even though he's been more aggressive recently, but he's a better shooter, even though he's not been recently. Anyway, the point stands. All three of them are looking to score the ball first. So, and it's, if you want to play the style of basketball that the Warriors want to play, which whether you love it or you hate it, it's not changing. Steve Kerr's not changing. Steph Curry's not changing. They're trying to move the ball. That is a fundamental thing they have to resolve, which is you can't have three guys looking for their own shot at all times.
I think so. I think that's something that, and Klay will be back on Friday. They'll start with that 5, and maybe it'll work. They're playing an undermanned Memphis team, but we saw that last time. But I think Sam, long term, that's what will be interesting, because this is the 5. I mean, this is the correct starting 5. Mm-hmm. Right? This is the right starting 5. Draymond is a 5 at this point in his career. He's not anything else. So this is the right starting 5. And can they get away? Can they run a flowy offense with this 5 with Klay in instead of Pods? And I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I do have some questions with this lineup, mainly with shooting against better defenses. Just the thing that always pops out to me recently is Wiggins has just lost confidence as jumper, which makes him, to his credit, he's being more aggressive going downhill.
6 for 6 from the free throw line. It's a miracle.
I know, but at some point you're going to play a defense that knows how to set itself. And one of Draymond, Kuminga, or Wiggins, if not two of them, has to be consistent. Like, I will hit 5 or 6 threes if you do not guard me. And right now, none of those guys are doing that. I mean, maybe I'm foreshadowing too much at this stage, but that's my long-term concern with this. And maybe to your point, that's when Klay gets more into the fold.
Yeah, that's it's also you're asking, these are give and take, which will be interesting with Kerr's system, is that Kuminga and Wiggins are essentially going to have to play the Andre role, where they're going to have to make the right decisions in this motion offense. I'm not sure if I'm
That's not who they are.
Exactly. So then that will require Steve, especially Steve and Steph, to change the offense to, dude, Klay's not going to make the right pass more often than not. Same with Wiggins, same with Kuminga. So what do you do now when they double Steph and Draymond isn't going to shoot, and now Klay's out there having to make a decision? Then all of a sudden, like, it's not Andre out there making the right passes, right? It's not Livingston out there making the right passes. It's not Otto Porter. What happens then when you've got three guys that aren't really the smartest guys in this offensive scheme? I think they have to change it. But then you get nights like tonight, which, Philly's offense is okay, but Wiggins, Embiid's kind of out there existing versus like locking in. They look great. And maybe the Kuminga leap is really where it's necessary, because did you see in crunch time tonight? And I guess maybe it's not crunch time because they're up by 10. But did you see
down the stretch?
Yeah, did you see what they were doing with it? They did what I thought they should the whole time. Just go get him downhill. Like, nobody's guarding him. Daniel House is not guarding him. like stop. Cork Maz. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? He's just jumping through guys, and that's not something that they've ever had ever. Even KD didn't do that.
No. I mean, he's the best athlete they've had that I can think of during this entire run, and probably the most aggressive going downhill too. Like, he can absolutely be one of those 10 free throw game guys that, like, sometimes are kind of hard to watch, like Giannis and stuff like that. But, like, he gets a step on everyone at any time. What do you want me to say? Like, and if he can do that, he creates an advantage. If he creates an advantage, he just has to go up. And we know in the modern NBA, if you go up aggressively, it's a foul every time. So, yeah, I mean, he's
right.
Yeah, this is the allure of Kuminga. He's an athlete they've never had. He has star measurables, and he wants it. The thing I like about Kuminga the most, and I continue to say this because we could pick at his weaknesses anytime we want. Like, not really a shooter, doesn't really make plays for others. I can point at all this, but the one thing I always see when I watch Kuminga is, like, he wants it. He wants it in a way that, to me, matters. I like seeing guys like that aggressively wanting to be great. I can think of other guys the Warriors have drafted where I'm like, they just exist. They think it's going to fall into their lap. They're not trying to get it, that sort of thing. And so that's the sort of thing where I like to bet on him figuring it out over time at all times. Yeah. Chat's going, JK, love the game. Yeah. I think he's pretty competitive is really what it comes down to. I think he may be young. There may be times where he looks young, but I don't think he's about just getting paid and walking away.
Steph,
I don't know if that's too blunt, but it's like, I'm trying to size up, like, am I buying this guy, like, continually going once he has success, or is he gonna be one of those guys? It's like, I got a contract and now I'm I want to go to Washington DC and just
I wouldn't worry about that. I'm worried about him. Right? I wouldn't worry about any of that. It's like 3 years away. I'm worried about right now. What I find funny is you mentioned this morning. Steph loves him. Did you see Steph clapping after Pat Bev with like pulled him from the back?
Vibes are
kind of dirty play. But Steph comes up and kind of is cheering him on, and Kuminga kind of gets in Pat Bev's face, which I love. Kuminga's the guy that gets in everyone's face. He got a little Draymond to him, and I don't know. Yeah. Steph seems like he enjoys playing with Kuminga a lot. Seems like that's kind of his guy, which is cool. Which is cool to see.
No, I mean those are all positive things. Like, it's all in context. Everything. Before we get moving. We should talk about my sleeper play tonight. Sleeper fantasy. So I just played 2 lines tonight. I played Podziemski on the over and Kuminga on the over. I was feeling pretty good about the Warriors being able to run what I was assuming was going to be a hobbled Joel Embiid. And I was correct on Kuminga hitting the over on 21.5, getting 26 total points. But it hurts I got excited about Pods being in the lineup. I saw 12.5. I was like, I'm in. He only had 11. So I did not win. Still think it's a good line. Could have made 3.5.
The process was right.
bucks.
He played 37 minutes, Sam. You did the right thing.
Yeah. I just needed one more shot to go down. He had 11. One more shot, and I would have made it. You can't win them all. I feel like if I go back and listen to every pod we do this on, I say you can't win them all more often than I win. But that's neither here nor there. I do find Sleeper to be the easiest way to play us because you and I were talking about this. I bet this live. I bet this right at tip-off, right after I saw the Klay Thompson news, which is a fun way to play a game. They updated it in real time. We were able to get in there, was able to place my line. Shout out Sleeper Fantasy.
Don't forget the promo code LightYears. Get $100 match on your first deposit. You know the deal. See Sleeper's terms used for details. Let's go. Check out Sleeper.
All right, so Warriors get a nice win tonight. They're still the 12th seed. There's still work There's still work to be done, my friend. There's still work to be done. We're not going to have a dance-off over this. And I think the thing that all Warrior fans care about in the short term,
yes, sir,
is the trade deadline. You're listening to this Wednesday, the 31st. The trade deadline is Thursday, the 8th. So we're 8 to 9 days away, depending on when you're listening to this. And our friend at The Athletic, Anthony Slater, put out a primer with some interesting stuff here. I'm sure every one of our listeners listened to it. Read it. If you have not read it, you should check it out. Andy, I know you read it. We talked about it. We can get into some of the details, but we're 8 to 9 days away. We're basically a week away. We're hearing everyone's on the table except for Steph, but also kind of non-committal with regards to, how aggressive they want to be, who they want to move, what they want to do. Where's your head at? Did this article make you more or less optimistic about the Warriors coming out of the trade deadline with a positive thing going forward? I don't know. Where's your head at?
This article basically told me that they're not going to make a crazy move. You can throw that out the window. Guys aren't getting traded outside of like maybe Moses Moody and Kevon Looney for maybe a big or something like that. He throws out a few names like Wendell Carter Jr. I know the hardcore Warriors fans love him. But to me,
he's on the trade pod all-star team.
Of
maybe
course.
Maybe a second team player.
Yeah, because he's not that good, but he's good. But he's not. They're not. Kuminga's not going anywhere. We're watching him kind of blow up here. He's not going anywhere. He talks about Klay Thompson. He basically said that's not happening. He even says it's a likely scenario Klay is back next season. I agree. It's just going to be a way less contract. Draymond's not going anywhere. We know that. Chris Paul, he mentions him being an option for a trade in the offseason where they can take the $30 million that they have an option on and use that in a trade in the offseason. So it doesn't feel like they're going to move him there because there's really not much on the trade market right now. And then Andrew Wiggins is the guy where, he points out that he is likely, but also you're not getting anything from him. Then you watch Wiggins the last couple games, he looks good. And then you can maybe convince yourself. Maybe Mike Dunleavy and Joe Lacob convinces themselves, and Steph and Draymond are like, well, Wiggins looks good. Maybe we keep him till next season. He's gonna be kind of back to what he was in 2022, blah, blah, blah. So to me, Sam, the only guys that make sense they're going to trade is going to be Kevon Looney, Moses Moody, maybe Chris Paul, but everything else, I can't imagine them doing anything there. And so then it becomes, who are you getting for Moses Moody and Kevon Looney and Chris Paul? And I don't know.
So it's interesting. I read the article and I read it kind of a different way. I read it a little non-committal. I do think they're going to make a move. I feel confident. Put me on the record. They'll make a move.
All right. Sam sources.
They will make a move. I'm increasingly less convinced it'll be a big move. Like one of those like earth-shattering moves. It might be Moses Moody in a direction for a different big man type of thing, which is, it's something, but it's not like shaking the roster up. But more than anything, reading this, my main take is kind of what I suspected the whole time. They're going to wait till last minute, man. They're waiting until the last minute to see how everything shakes out because I don't think they want to go all in. My read on this entire, and maybe this just takes me to your point, which is you don't think anything crazy is happening because the less convicted you are with it, the more likely you are not to do something. But it seems like they're viewing this team as semi-lost. And if we can do something, we'll do something. But what we're not going to do is screw up the future for a lost cause. For better or worse, that's the way I'm reading it. And it seems to me like they're willing to make some moves, but they want to see where everyone is standing. I don't know, let's say February 7th or 6th, like 2 hours. They're bargain shopping, man. They're bargain shopping.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what it is. So we actually got to the same point. Maybe I'm
framing it differently.
Yeah, exactly. We got to the same point, and I agree with you that like there will be no trade for Zach LaVine. There will be no trade for DeJounte Murray. That is not happening. He is not going to be a Warrior.
Maybe, but it would be right. It would be something that like the last 2 days they're like, man, this is the best we're getting.
Yeah, right. Hawks would have to be, oh my God, we're not getting anyone. We'll take Moses Moody and the expiring of Chris Paul, right? Or something like that, right? We just got to get off this contract. And even
2 seconds, Moses in 2 seconds, that's good enough. You know,
and like, even then, like, would you even want to do that if you're the Warriors? You're just adding on that much money. You almost got to have to, you know, I don't know, whatever, right? But yeah, I'm with you. Then we're just talking about bargain shopping. Can they get a center? Because Kevon Looney looks like he's done. He didn't even play tonight. Played 8 minutes. Barely played against the Lakers. Same thing. Looked terrible when he played. I feel bad for him. And something's going on with him. He's either physically cooked or something. But he's unplayable right now. So they've got nothing. Sarge is worse than ever on defense. So they've really got like that. Is that the obvious move, Sam? Like that's it
to get a center.
That's
I mean, that was maybe the biggest revelation of this. I'm going to pull up one sequence of it where Dunleavy spent a chunk of time talking with Hawks GM Landry Fields, but any interest in DeJounte Murray is tepid at best, which won't lead to movement. He's another guard about to step into blah blah blah. The Warriors have a greater need and thirst. Oh, I need to know about their thirst.
Okay.
For a wing or a center. Lowry Markkanen fits the description, but probably not moving. I guess my question for you is, so I'm looking at this. It does seem like if you're looking at the Warriors, and I get the perspective, it's just kind of like enough with the small ball. It's time for us to find a center we can play, even if it's 20 minutes a game, even if it's that in general. That's what it seems like I'm taking away from this whole thing. Names thrown out are like Nick Claxton,
sure,
Wendell Carter, Clint Capella, that sort of thing.
Jared Allen.
I don't think he's getting moved. I don't think he's getting moved at all based on, the fact that he's dominating for Cleveland. So
Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
James Wiseman.
Sorry,
keep it going. I'm trolling you at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like that maybe that's the way they're going. I guess my question for you is, what would you prioritize if you're the Warriors? Do you think they need to get another playmaker, a wing, or a big?
There's no chance they're getting a play. I mean, they can't get a playmaker. That's the thing. They would prefer a playmaker. They're not getting a playmaker. There's no playmaker on the market that they can get, right? So some of this is just an availability thing.
DeJounte is a playmaker.
I don't think they're giving them up. I don't think they're giving picks. Like, what's the % chance they give a first round? They trade a first round pick at the deadline. Over or under 25%. Over or under 15%.
I go over.
Oh, okay, 15 or 25.
You're saying one pick.
One pick. A pick.
Yeah, I say one pick. I say greater than 25%. Now, if we're talking about multiple picks, I say 0%. And I just that's where I'm at. I think if they could get DeJounte Murray, I don't really care what the article says. I think if it's DeJounte, salary filler, and Moses Moody, they do it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair point.
I just don't think that's what it's going to take. So.
Yeah, no. Somebody's gonna do the Indiana Pacers thing, right? They'll give a Moody type of player, and then they'll do another one, and then they'll drop a couple better picks at the Warriors. You can give them the Warriors just aren't. They're more of a we're not gonna go for DeJounte Murray, but if DeJounte Murray falls in our laps, and we know the Atlanta guys, they know the Atlanta guys very well, so it's like can we get it done if on the last day they've got nobody else and that kind of thing. I think I'm kind of saying what you're saying, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the big is the most likely scenario. I think that's the one where they can bargain shop, like you said, where they can just maybe toss a couple seconds and some salary filler. And then they can just convince themselves, look, Chris Paul's coming back. He can lead the second unit. GP2's coming back. That's kind of like a wing. And Wiggins and Kuminga are kind of stepping into being really solid wings. And we've got enough. And we're just going to go forward with that. I think that's what they're going to tell us come February 9th, February 10th, is they're just going to tell us we got a big, we offloaded Moses Moody because they want to play for Steve Kerr anymore because he doesn't get any run. And we'll go with that.
Yeah. It does feel like they're punting on the season. That's where I'm at with it. It does feel like the general sense is, let's add something that we can use next year to the team, but we're not in a major rush. Not particularly happy with that, to be honest.
They could. I think one thing that they should think about doing is cutting the amount of players that need to play from this team. And I think specifically, I'm thinking of Chris Paul, Moody. I'm also thinking of Sarge a little bit. Is like those guys are good. Like they deserve to play at least 15 plus minutes a game. And this team just has too many of those guys. It's just too many guys that just need to play. And 10 games from now, Sam, I really don't want to see Chris Paul close a game instead of Kuminga. Like I really don't. And you just got to save Steve Kerr from himself. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't do it. I can't do it. I think Mike Dunleavy's got to save him because they just got too many guys that can play basketball, that should play basketball. And I don't really trust Steve Kerr to go with the right players. And we've seen that he hasn't. We've seen that he hasn't for the majority of the first half of the season. So I think that's probably what they should think about doing. And maybe that just comes with, can they consolidate guys from multiple guys? What do we got?
We got a quote on Steve Kerr's Draymond Green's emotional impact from Shana Rubin from the Mercury News. One of the ways Draymond is really helping is he lifts Wiggs up and he lifts JK. He's kind of their hype man. He keeps them feeling good. And it's hard to do when you're not playing. It's easier to do when you're actually on the floor. Yes. I mean, it's kind of one of those reminders that, Draymond, kind of an important player for this team, no matter how much he infuriates you all the time, right? Like, let me ask you this. Does a trade help more or does Draymond making Wiggins and Kuminga better help more? You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of a question I'm having here in general.
No, the latter. If Draymond's going to help Kuminga make a leap offensively, and really, I think the key to Draymond with those two guys is making this defense playable, because Kuminga and Moody are not great team defenders, but you put those two guys next to Draymond, who's just incredibly smart, and he can just direct them where to be and then allow them to rebound. I think they combined for 11, 12 rebounds tonight. That's it. That's I think that's more important than getting. I can't even name anyone that they're going to get at the trade deadline.
DeJounte Murray, sure.
Maybe that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Good quote though.
It is. Anyway, we got another week here. I think my main take on this stuff is I think it's more fluid than that. We'll see. You're right to bet against them doing something big, but I'm expecting them to make a move. So,
God, they better. All right, we'll get to the goons. Before we get to the goons, the Light Years podcast is brought to you by Under Armour Curry brand. I finally stepped into the Curry 11s / Bruce Lee edition today. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. They're way better than the other shoes that I've worn in the last few years. Way better. They're incredible. Low top, super comfy on the bottom. I'm slow as hell. Felt a little quicker.
Nice.
Great on the court tonight. So Steph Curry makes you believe you can do anything. And the Curry 11s are specifically designed. Ultimate bounce, grip, stability. Allow everyone to do their thing. New generations of ball players coming up, showing the basketball world that the old rules do not apply. The future is exciting, fast, positive, and hungry. This NBA season, rock with your favorite player. Rip his shoes on off the court. Curry 11s are perfect for both the committed and casual ballers. The UA Warp Tech makes the shoe feel like it was designed for your feet, locked in no matter what you do on the court. Stopping your tracks with dual density UA flow cushioning and traction. An emergency brake you don't even notice. Steph's 11th signature shoe steps into the second decade of his sneaker career, pulling colorway inspiration from the wonders of a positive and modernized future. On and off the court, take these kicks with you when you leave the scrimmage and rep UA wherever you go. Do your thing, change the game. The Curry 11 Future Curry, available now at currybrand.com.
Sweet. Let's get to the goons. Ken. It's our guy.
Can you hear me?
It is our guy.
New leadoff hitter. What's going on, Ken?
Hey, sorry to leave you hanging last time. And hey, first thing I want to say, Andy, great to have you back.
Yeah.
Sam, you've been killing it with the guests. Jason and your friend Milo from Serbia.
Yeah, Milos. Yeah.
Awesome.
Milos.
Awesome. It'd be interesting if you could get your guy from Toronto on Esfander. Is that his name?
Yeah, it's Van DR, my guy.
Yeah. So just appreciate that. I was excited when I saw that Klay was out for tonight's game. I think the Warriors rotation makes a lot more sense without Klay Thompson. First of all, let's Pods play the 2. I actually think Moody at the 2 makes more sense with Pods as the backup 1. But just the rotation made sense tonight.
I can't discount it, Ken. I can't discount it. You have a great evening, sir. I mean, the ball, this is the second game I can think of this season where Klay has not played and the ball has hopped in general. It doesn't have to be that way. But for whatever reason, when Klay's on the floor, other guys can't get going.
I wouldn't go as far as to say, I was happy that he was out, but I think at some point they're going to have a conversation about him coming off the bench. That's all. And people are going to kill me about this. It's like, dude, I think he's going to be on the team. I would prefer if Klay was on the team.
Everyone has to sacrifice, man.
Yeah, thank you.
If Steph and Draymond can come off the bench, Klay can come off the bench.
What you just said is the one though. Like everyone has a sacrifice. Like Steph has sacrificed, Draymond has sacrificed. I mean, shit. He does it to himself. But like at some point, like Klay, you can't just play 35 minutes and just chuck shots up like you've always. Like I don't know. And maybe it's not Pod starting. I mean, Kareem is in the chat. Like maybe that's not Pod start. Maybe that's not it. Although we've got Pods with the braids here from who's
Rowan. What's up, man?
Rowan. Pods, please.
What up, guys?
Never do that hair again. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a mistake from our boy.
Yeah. Wow.
We all went through bad haircuts in college. That's all I'm gonna say.
My goodness, that is true.
I think last pod I realized that Sam might fully have CP3 Stockholm syndrome because he talked about all our big contracts not producing, and he forgot to mention CP3, who makes $6 million more than Andrew Wiggins. And so I said, it's time. I got to talk again. And I went back to the day of our trade in a group chat with my best friend and my older brother. And I'd just like to read you 3 texts that I sent on that day. This is moments when the news broke. I said, quote, and I apologize for the language, fuck. The dynasty is over. It's been a good run. Of course, CP3 kills it. Text 2. I can't believe we traded a team who had Porzingis more for Chris Paul than the Celtics traded them for Zinger. Disgusting. What the literal fuck. Now, number 3. I can't wait for the Chris Paul Stockholm Syndrome PR machine to work overtime and convince everyone he's so important to our lineups when in reality we're a middling 500 basketball team by November. And I don't want to say I'm an oracle, but that might be the smartest thing I've ever said in my life. The bigger thing is I don't think it's a coincidence that we've had a top 5 offense since CP3's been out. And like, I don't think we need to necessarily make a big trade, but we got to get him off of the team. If he comes back and puts on a Warriors jersey again, I honestly, like, it sounds dramatic, but I think I'm just going to be out for the rest of the year. I think he ruins all of our rotations. He took contributes literally nothing.
Do you know how early 6 a.m. is? Have you ever been on a 6 a.m. Southwest flight?
That's valid. He did get on that flight, and that's why we haven't traded him yet. We gave him like an extra couple weeks, but we got to ship him out. And so I think turning him, as another reminder, he costs more than 3 Alex Carusos. Just put that into perspective.
Oh my God! All right. Oh my God! Don't even, you're hurting me right now, bro. You're hurting me.
Steve Kerr's dream is Steph, 3 Carusos, and a Pods lineup.
Yeah, that actually, we can't mention that to him. He's going to figure out how to make that happen. But just turning him into anything serviceable, just like a fucking, maybe a guy who's like over 6'8" and anything.
It's in the CBA. The Warriors can't have those. So
yeah, sometimes when I get frustrated with our lack of rim protection, I then remember, oh, that's TJD, and like he's the exact same size as Tobias Harris. Oh, he is smaller than Kawhi and Paul George. No wonder he can't block them. That's like, come on, it's like pickup basketball at that point, and that's why it's a layup line, boys.
You know, Ron, appreciate the call.
He said something. The Porzingis one is really painful. We talked about Porzingis.
Do you really feel that way? Because they didn't. So they gave up the Warriors pick for one. Well, they get Marcus Smart. Yeah. They gave up Marcus Smart to make it happen. Do the Warriors have Marcus Smart to trade? They do not. They do not in general. So when you look at what they actually gave up, it wasn't nothing. It was something the Warriors did not have at that time. Oh, I'm doing copium right now. I apologize. But they did trade Marcus Smart for essentially, like, if you look at it, brass tacks, they traded Marcus Smart to get Porzingis.
Yeah.
Who on the Warriors has the same value as Marcus Smart?
Probably Wiggins at the time, and they weren't going to move Wiggins at the time. So maybe that. I mean, they weren't going to move Kuminga either.
Maybe, but yeah,
they weren't going to do it. Wiggins wasn't this bad, right, in the offseason. So you can argue
but he did miss multiple months and just disappear on everyone.
We didn't know that he was going to be this
How do you think other teams would view that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think Wiggins go anywhere. I think the Chris Paul one is so tough too, because it's not like he's been bad. He's bad for this team. He's bad for Steve Kerr. It's bad for Steve Kerr. Like, it's just 30 minutes a game for Chris Paul is ridiculous, and he did it every game. And you can't close with him. You can't start with him. He should only play 18 minutes, but it's never going to play 18 minutes. And this is what's going to happen when he comes back. Steve is going to play him too much. And so that's why I agree. And he's so what's the word?
Antithetical.
To everything the Warriors are. Like, he just holds the ball and fucking enough.
Shows up to games
in a chain. I can't. It's not even that I can't stand him. He's actually good this season. I just need more Warriors type of players, man. I don't need more. All right, who we got?
Other Luke. Our guy.
Boys, can you hear me?
We can. What's going on, man?
Ahoy. Good win. I was at work, but, got to watch it on the side while my boss was not looking. Got a couple of things. First off, Kuminga. I feel like he's got that Steph psychopath type of smile in him. Or like that game where he just doesn't give a crap. Like the one with Beverly fouling him. Yeah, it was a bit dirty. And then he's starting to pat Bev in the back like, oh, so good. It was just crazy. The second one is I'm actually taking a trip to San Francisco So Australia, other Luke from Australia is going to San Francisco. Can't wait. I'm actually going to watch 2 Warriors games, so hopefully I see people around. It's going to be the one with Memphis and the one with New York. My buddy's a New York Knicks fan, so I can't wait to say fuck the Knicks to him when we win, or if we win, seeing how the season goes. Anyways, the question is, where should I go in San Francisco? I got a couple of days, don't have an itinerary yet, and my missus said, hey, you figure it out since you wanted to go so bad.
I like it. That's a good question. This podcast is uniquely qualified to provide advice. Before you get off, before you ask, are you looking for sights to see, things to do, or food to eat?
Let's go food to eat because we're big foodies. But
food. What
type of food? Any food, man. Give me an experience.
Okay.
Food's easy, Andy.
Wait, hold on. What's Australia known for? What type of food is Australia?
Oh shit! We take what's best from other people. So where I'm from is just like true colonization.
Okay. All right.
What's it called? Just I'm really after. I think apparently you guys are good for seafood cuisine, right?
Okay.
Is that?
It's a little bit.
Wait, weren't you guys sponsored by Pacific?
We were.
You go to Pacific Edge. I will. We will send some stuff. We will send some, or we can talk about it.
I feel like the thing. So there's a lot of great Asian cuisine in San Francisco, but I'm hesitant to recommend it because there's also a lot of very good Asian cuisine in where in Australia are you?
I'm in Sydney.
You're in Sydney, so I don't think.
Yeah, that's what Sam. I was a little like,
but I know what's not in Sydney, and that's a Mission burrito.
Okay,
that I can guarantee he cannot get.
Okay,
in Sydney. So we'll throw some of those recommendations out there. Yeah, the chat's going super. Yeah, Andy, where's your favorite burrito?
It's easy. Taqueria, Guadalajara. DM me or whatever. I'll send.
You're really not willing to put it on the record.
No. I'm just saying so he remembers. He's not gonna remember if I tell him right now.
Where I'm going in March.
That's true. That's just factual.
But DM me when you come by. Okay,
one more thing.
All right.
Look, the only thing I'm gonna tell my misso is she's only getting a ring if the Warriors get a ring this year.
Well, goodness. I feel
bad.
No ring. She's about to be disappointed.
All right, ladies.
Appreciate you, Leek.
Oh my goodness. That's
she's gonna break up with you, buddy.
Oh my god. Let's throw some places out. He didn't ask for any places to go. I know, I almost sent him to Hunter's Point. I know producer Tim threw that in the chat. Guadalajara is my favorite burrito spot by far. Not even close. Now that I live like 20-30 minutes away, I'm a little sad I don't get to do it as much as No, 100 Point is not noted. I am joking. Do not go there. I probably shouldn't throw that on the pot.
I mean, you can.
I mean, you could be like Keith Lee. He ended up in wherever he ended up and was all pissy about it. It's like, my guy, you ended up where you ended up. What the fuck do you expect, bro? Like, what the fuck? That shit pisses me off. Like, you know what I mean? It's like he's like, oh, but he makes this whole big thing about going to the Bay Area. Then he's in fucking East Oakland. I'm like, and then you're complaining about what it looks like, dude. There's an East Oakland in every fucking state in the world. Go back to where you're from, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, Francis, I'm done with the rant.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Sir,
that's pretty good. Win's a win.
A win's a win. I almost turned my TV off during that stretch when Kerr decided to play the young guys without any of the starters, and Philadelphia went on that run, and I was like, man, look at coaching malpractice again. But it's been a tough season. We're still hanging in there. I have a question that I was running through with my friends today. So Miami's shit right now. They've lost 7 in a row. Would you, if you got a call, as your Warriors GM, and you got a call that we want Wiggins, Kuminga, and picks, and we will give you Jimmy Butler because Wiggins and Kuminga walks in Miami's timeline with like Hero and Bam Adebayo and Jaquez and all those guys. Are you taking that call? Are you considering it? Are you having a meeting? Are you discussing it? Knowing that Jimmy's 34, Jimmy plays when Jimmy wants to play. He's great in the postseason.
Definitely a 55-game player, right?
Right? Are you taking a meeting? Are you having a discussion about it? I just want to know.
I mean, you have to have the discussion. Of course. That's the like. Jimmy's a great player. You can't not have discussion. But with that said, it's a lot. I don't know,
He's
turned 35.
I think they're not making the playoffs if Jimmy Butler is on the team.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're gonna be the best team on paper, but they're gonna all not play enough games to make the playoffs. There'll be a lot of Lester Quinones and Guy Santos.
Can we pick up the phone and then ask for Jaquez for coming back the other way?
Oh, they're not giving you Jaquez though.
Someone's got to play the regular season, buddy.
What do we? I think. Wow, the Miami Heat are in a dark place if that's what you're thinking is a realistic thing that they're looking at. I'd imagine from outsiders' perspective that Miami's not. They just traded for Rozier.
I'll give you the Miami perspective here. They're gonna play like shit for the next month and a half.
Of course,
they're gonna be in the play-in. They have 43 wins, and then they're gonna fucking run through the East. I'm not concerned about them. I need to see them actually die before they do. I don't like any team in the East. I think Philly's a fraud. I think Boston's a fraud. Milwaukee potentially not, but
no, they are. They are.
I mean, they just They just changed their coach mid-season. That's not great.
It's ridiculous.
And meanwhile, Spoelstra and his fucking army of goons. Like I don't know. I'm just saying. How many times do we have to see this? How many times do we have to see this? How many times do we have to see Jason Tatum take a bunch of fadeaways he shouldn't take to lose a game? How many times do you have to see Embiid flop around, seems to do it, and then
my question would be, is it realistic for Butler in that current Miami situation to win a championship? If they come out of the East, are they going to beat the Nuggets? Are they going to beat? So is it better for him to move to a contenders and make a team better, make the Warriors better? Or
I guess the problem there is like they're not. They don't have that. They don't have Wade. They don't have the LeBron. They don't have those guys to get them there. I don't think the move changes that. I don't know of them getting Kuminga and Wiggins change. Yeah, so I think they just ride it out. I honestly, I know they will. Because like to what Sam said, like maybe they'll actually add a guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they add a guy,
Rozier, buddy.
Like Rozier. It's a good trade. Like it's a good trade. He's a good player. He's having a good year. Because you're gonna see these goons cooking up Damian Lillard in the playoffs. I guarantee you. All of a sudden, like the Miami can't score 80 points right now. I guarantee you, second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. We're going to see Miami
Caleb Martin's going to be cooking from the corner. Duncan Robinson going to go in there and hit 6 in a row. At minimum, I'll put it this way. At minimum, I am not disrespecting them to write them off in January. I'm going to need to see it in April, So that's where I'm at with them.
Good call. Francis, I like that suggestion.
I appreciate you.
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, that's a fun topic. I don't know. It's not happening. So we get Tatiana up here.
They lost 8 in a row. It's kind of
Is it 8? I thought it was 7.
7. Dude, 7 is insane. Even the Warriors haven't lost 7 in a row. Hey, Tatiana, let's talk about the bet. The bet that will never will have
You
no
know-
winner. You got to find a way
Hey,
to fix the audio.
winner becomes me if in the end. So I get to see you guys have to wear a Wiseman jersey and that one weirdo dude that we've been talking about in the Goose Shack. But yeah, it is what it is.
We'll see.
But here's the one thing. So are we getting like Claxton or Allen in the trade deadline? Because at a certain point, like Draymond can't play like 30 minutes a game at center, right? We all agree about this, right? Even though like we all agree that Wiggins and Kuminga is a Draymond merchant and Wiggs is unfortunately a Draymond merchant, but I don't know how long Draymond can play at center at his old age, even though he hasn't played the entire year.
Yeah, I was gonna say he better be ready to play. Dude hasn't shown up at all. This is probably why they're making a trade for a center, right, Sam?
I don't know. Touchdown, appreciate you. I just think it's going to ride out a little longer. I think we all want them to have made a decision right now, and it's very clear they're going to wait till the last minute. Right or wrong, that's where I'm at right now. And I do agree with you. It'll probably most likely be a center.
He's also not really guarding like the bigs. Like tonight, they put Chase Jackson Davis a little bit and Sarge a little bit, and Draymond wasn't help. Like, I get it, but that's just kind of how the NBA is now. Like, he's not banging against guys every game. You know what I mean? They're gonna play Memphis on Friday. Who's he gonna guard?
I mean, we said the last time we played Memphis.
Yeah, I'm just saying he's not gonna like. Will, let's go.
What's going on, guys?
Sir.
Enjoying the evening.
First of all, great win. I have a couple of things that I want to say about Klay specifically. So I'm gonna just get this off, and y'all let me know what your thoughts are about this. So Sam, when you were saying earlier, you're like there's only like one other game that you could think of where you felt the ball was hopping around like this when Klay wasn't playing. And that game, if I recall, was the New Orleans game, because I think that was the only other game he missed this season.
Right.
But for me, there's a couple of things. Like when you look at Klay's contract, right, $40 million, two things that are definitely not going to happen. One, they are not paying him a max deal that he thinks he's still worth. That there's no universe that's ever going to happen. And two, they are definitely not going to either let him walk in the offseason either. Now, the thing that frustrates me, and I think a lot of us fans about the situation with Klay as well, is like you watch like a game like tonight or the game in New Orleans, and you just see how I feel like Klay is the one person left on this team that hasn't really sacrificed, that really I think needs to sacrifice. Like, you've had Steph Curry come off the bench. You've had Wiggins, who was playing atrocious and deserved to be benched, come off the bench. And I know a lot of people might not want to talk about it right now, but it seems like he's, turning the corner and coming around. But for me, when I look at this whole situation with Klay, it's just like we need to have people around Steph who can defend and who can hide him on defense. And Klay can't do that anymore. And so when like a situation with the lineup choices that Kerr was making tonight, you see that we had a better ability to not only defend, but then get out in transition because of that. And I don't know what we do with Klay, but I think that an adjustment with Klay's role needs to happen if this team wants to go anywhere. By the way, I think we take CP3's contract and we do something with it, maybe pair with Sarge or something and get a big, like a serviceable big. Because like the person previously was saying, we can't have Draymond at the 5 for like forever.
For forever, yeah.
But can't we? No, well, I think
we can't have it all, Sam. We can't have it all.
I do agree with you, and that's kind of, I feel like that's what Andy was saying earlier in the pod, which is like attitude adjustment, some form of sacrifice from Klay, whether it's coming off the bench, whatever it looks like, could potentially do more than anything for this team.
How is it hate? Like, bro is old. He's not as good anymore. He don't play defense. Like, he's still a good player.
Thank you, bro.
He's just not
really what's been
Klay.
pissing me off with like a lot of people on Twitter is just like thinking that this is hate against Klay. Respectfully, it's not hate. He's had 2 devastating injuries. He gets cooked on defense. Partially, it's not his fault. He's getting old and he can't move anymore. But the thing is that he still thinks that he is what he isn't anymore. And he needs a wake-up call, and I just think that some adjustment needs to happen for the betterment of the team because we're not blind. We can see that when Klay isn't there right now, things are just moving better. That doesn't mean that we don't need Klay because he's still a huge threat.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
They still need him. I think they still need him if they want to win. Like, if you told me that, like, oh, the option is to trade him, like, I wouldn't want to do that. Like, this is not what we're talking about. And so, when I think the change is going to happen, I don't think it's this year. I think it's in the offseason because he's going to get a contract that's going to be a lot less than the one he wants. He's going to want to stay in Golden State. Steph and Draymond are going to get him to sign an extension, and it's going to be a lot less. And I think that contract is going to allow him to like admit that that he's just not the same guy. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's fine. It's just you're not that guy. You're not that guy anymore. And that's okay. It's okay, Klay. But I get it. I mean, I don't get it actually. Nobody gets it except for him, right? Because he's the guy that's dealing with it. But you watch him out there. How many times we have to watch him go 4 for 18 and shoot these shots in crunch time? It is what it is, man. Like, at some point you got to be the 6th man. And he's better off being that than taking all of Steph shots and taking all of Kuminga shots in the first unit. So
appreciate you, Will. Yeah, no, I mean it's something they're gonna have to get to. I say we end it right here. Appreciate everyone. We'll be back soon.
See you guys Friday. Bye.